Okay, hi and Assalamualaikum. So for today, I would like to continue my explanation on high-low method. Okay, so what is high-low method? Okay, so what is high-low method? Okay, high-low method is a way of attempting to okay, separate out fixed costs and variable costs given a limited amount of data, right? The high-low method involves taking the highest level of activity and the lowest level of activity and comparing the total cost at each level, okay, of these two activities, all right? So let us have a look at the formula, okay? Okay, the formula for high-low method is, right, by deducting, okay, the highest activity cost, okay, meaning that once we determine the highest activity level, okay, the highest output in units, and the lowest activity level, the lowest output, right? We then take the cost of these two activity, of these two output, and we compare them, okay? So the highest activity cost minus the lowest activity cost, okay, and divide this with the difference, okay, between the highest and the lowest units of output. All right, so this will give us the amount of the variable cost per unit. Okay, let me show you one illustration, okay, on how to actually do this. All right, okay, so here we have the data provided in Selesa Sdn Bhd, right, in term of month, the actual production output in units, and the total cost for each output produced, okay, for each month reported. All right, here I have already identified the highest activity level, okay, maximum, which is 960 units, and the lowest activity level, okay, the lowest output produced during the year, which is 780 units, okay, max and minimum, okay. And after that, I have already highlighted the costs incurred, okay, for the maximum activity level as well as the minimum activity level, okay. So what's next? Okay, now since we have determined the highest and lowest activity level, okay, highest and lowest outputs, and the relevant cost for the highest and the lowest output, okay, in our previous slide, it is for us, okay, it is now the time for us to apply the high-low formula, all right? So we compare the highest cost, sorry, we compare the cost for the highest activity level, okay, and the cost for the lowest activity level. So in this case, 148,000, okay, the cost for the highest activity level just now. Okay, we compare this, okay, with the cost for the lowest activity level, okay, which is 124,000. Okay, and the difference, okay, we divide with the difference, okay, with the difference of the output, okay, between the highest and the lowest. Okay, so this will give us the variable cost per unit, okay, amounting to 133 ringgit and 33 cents per unit. Okay, variable cost per unit. All right, please take note, I use the word per unit. Okay, next, all right, we insert the variable cost per unit, okay, the 133 ringgit and 33 cents, okay, and multiply this, okay, with, in this example, I take the highest units, okay, the highest activity level. So I multiply the variable cost per unit, okay, with the highest activity levels, in this case, the 960 units, and this will give us, okay, the total variable cost. Okay, so in this case, the total variable cost for the 960 units is 128,000. Okay, all right. So for the next step, okay, the next step is to determine the total fixed cost. Okay, the total fixed cost. Please take note, okay, maybe some of you have already know about this, okay, but some might have forgotten about the formula of total cost. Okay, total cost is actually the addition, okay, total cost is actually the summation, the addition of total variable cost with total fixed cost. Okay, so we are given the total cost for the 960 units. Okay, in this case, it is amounting to 148,000, right? So 148,000 is the total cost for the 960 units. Okay, and we have also determined, okay, we have already determined the total variable cost for the 960 units. Okay, so what is left for us? Okay, so by differentiating the total cost with the total variable cost, okay, in step 2, okay, this will bring us to the total fixed cost. Okay, total fixed cost. So the total fixed cost for the 960 units is 20,000. Okay, so I repeat, okay, the formula, okay, in order to determine the total fixed cost, okay, all we need to do is we take the total cost for the relevant units, okay, for the units in question, okay, the total cost of that particular units, and we minus with the total variable cost, okay, that we have calculated in step 2, right? Step 2, okay, because step 1 is actually identification of variable cost per unit, okay. Step 2 is to determine the total variable cost, okay, and step 3 would be to determine the total fixed cost. Okay, so what we can conclude from the calculation is that the variable cost per unit determined is 133 ringgit and 33 cents per unit, and the total fixed cost is 20,000 ringgit. Okay, let's try this out for another units of output, shall we? Okay, now I am applying the variable cost per unit, okay, which is 133 ringgit and 33 cents, okay, with the lowest output in the question. Okay, in the question, we are still using the same illustration. Okay, so we have the lowest unit is 780 units, okay, multiply with the variable cost per unit, okay, of 133 ringgit and 33 cents. Okay, the amount that we derived, okay, from the formula used under the high-low method, right? So multiplying these two, right, brings us to the total variable cost of 104,000. All right. Again, to determine the total fixed cost, we just take the total cost. Okay, we just take the total cost incurred for the 780 units. In this case, it was 124,000, and we minus with the total variable cost calculated in step 2. All right. So that will give us the total fixed cost of 20,000. Okay. And did you notice that the total fixed cost is the same, okay, at 780 units and at 960 units early on, right? Did you notice that? Yes, good. If not, then I guess you have to rewatch. Okay, rewatch this video from the starting of the illustration. Okay. Okay, then we have done with the calculation. All right. However, please take note that using this method, okay, the high-low method, is advisable only if costs are relatively stable. Otherwise, the result of cost split will be inaccurate because the method assumes, okay, using only two boundary points, which is the highest and the lowest, and ignores all other data in a set. Okay, so to highlight this, okay, to highlight this limitation, all right, the assumption made by the method. Okay, let us have a look at the graph, okay, at the graphical illustration after this. Okay, this graph illustrates the assumption and limitation, okay, of this high-low method, all right? So as we can see here, they are a blue straight line and few red dots, okay? The straight line indicates the total cost line, okay? And as we can see, the highest and the lowest costs, okay, are on the straight line, all right? The one that we use for the high-low method just now, okay? However, there are a few other dots, okay, outside of the straight line, okay, outside of the straight line. And this indicates the actual values, meaning that the value that are incurred, okay, for each of the production level, okay? So these are the limitation of the straight line of the high-low method, okay? When we plot it onto a graph, okay, we can see that it doesn't actually gives a total or gives a true view, okay, of the cost of the variable cost and the fixed cost incurred, okay, by the production, okay. So they are limitation. All right. Okay, so that is all for the high-low method topic. Okay. All right, so I hope you have a better understanding, okay, by watching this video. And hopefully, okay, I can reach you soon, okay, for another topic, okay, inshallah. So bye bye for now and hope to see you soon. Take care and stay safe. Bye.